Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am live today. It's not my regular Wednesday morning. I have other plans for January 1st, probably sleeping in. So I thought I'd go live on the last day of 2024. I am super excited to bring to you guys my last one layout 3 cards of the year. I will continue these in the new year, but this will be my last one for 2024. So if you guys don't know already, in our catalog on page 22, Stampin' Up! Provided a whole bunch of card layouts, and I've actually created a document. I'll switch over to my desktop and share that with you. So I've created a full document of all of the different layouts that there are on that page and kind of enlarged them and everything. And every month I've been going through and choosing one and creating 3 different cards using 3 different stamp sets and showing you how we can adapt these layouts. So today, because it's the new year and it's holidays and nobody's thinking straight, I have chosen to use this super duper simple layout from the top corner here. It's just great for quick and easy cards, and I hope you guys love what I have to show for you today. Now, the stamp sets that I'm using today are also last chance items, you guys. So Stampin' Up's kind of changed how they're going to be retiring product. We now have a last chance category on our website, and these could be online exclusives. They could be things from catalogs, all of that. So the 3 that I am using today are 3 of my favorites that are while supplies last, basically. So we've got Heartfelt Hexagon. Now the punch is not going away. We're keeping the punch. But this stamp set that coordinates with the punch is going to be going away. Our Queen Bee, which kind of makes sense because they sold out of the dies quite some time ago. I still love it as a stamp set just to use it without dies. But so that one's going to be going. And then the Softly Said, which is one that I have not used nearly as much as I should because it is great for quick cards. It stamps so nicely and really takes up a lot of card space. So that's a good one. All right, so we're going to get started. I think I'm going to work with the Queen Bee first. And I'm going to do a little bit of embossing with this one. So I already have my stamps out. Let's see. We're going to start. We've got our Queen Bee image. And what I love about the particular layout that I'm using today is, you could attach measurements to what they've shown, which I often actually do attach measurements to what they've shown. But it actually is really so simple that you can change up your dimensions based on what you're stamping. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. I've just got a piece of crumb cake here that's bigger than my bee stamp. We're probably going to end up trimming it up later, but for now, we're going to use it as is. So I'm going to get my embossing buddy, and I'm just going to really go over that and make sure there's nothing stuck to this. All right. And then I'm going to grab some Versamark ink, and we're going to stamp our bee onto this piece of crumb cake. Now, normally I would say, try to center it or whatever. I'm actually not going to center it. I'm going to stamp it as low as I can and as far left as I can, and then we'll trim up our base as needed. All right, I think that's good. We've got that going. All right, so I'm going to come in here, put my wing and bum down. There we go. Now you do want to kind of try and stamp it straight, like across the top of the wings. That is a little bit important. So we've got our bee stamped on there. And, oh, I forgot to grab the crown. I'm going to grab the crown as well and stamp that on here right above my bee. Just like that. All right, so I've got my bee and my crown stamped. Now I'm going to grab my gold embossing powder, and we are going to glitter these up. Well, I guess it's not glitter, it's gold. All right. So there we go. And then I'm just going to grab my little paintbrush, even though I used my embossing buddy. I had a little bit still stuck there. Beautiful. Okay, so now that we have our gold across our image, we are going to heat this up. As you pop on, if you want to say hi, I'd love to know who's watching as well. Tell me what your New Year's Eve plans are. So here we go. We're going to heat these up. Oh, that is so pretty. All right, so we have our bee and our crown all done up in gold now. And now I can trim this down a little bit because really the smaller it is, the better for how we're going to put it onto our card. So I'm going to come in here and trim this down. Oops, don't move that. There we go. And I'm going to trim this side. And of course, being aware not to trim off my wing. There we go. All right, so now our bee is centered on our paper, and our paper is just slightly smaller now. So that was kind of what we were looking to accomplish. All right, now we get to have some fun with our card base. So this is going to get attached to our card front. But first of all, we're going to do some work with this. We're going to get some, actually, I'm going to place that where I want it just to hold its place. And I'm going to grab my early espresso ink. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment down here. So I'm going to do happy birthday. It's 2 beautiful words. It doesn't come as one sentiment. So we're going to stamp both of those. And I'm going to stamp them one at a time. All right. So there we go. Happy. Beautiful. And then let's clean that up and we'll stamp our birthday. Oh, hey, Heather. Happy New Year's Eve. How are you guys doing today? Any big adventures? All right. So we've got our happy on there. And now we're going to stamp our birthday just below it. And I'm going to kind of put it off to the side. I'm not going to put it right below. All right. Off like that. There. So this card is a little bit unusual for me. I don't normally do the cards that open and close, like have the hinge at the top. But I am really trying to use up things in my craft room and not have like random bits lying around. So this was on my desk. So we're using it. Heading out to see the salt flats. Oh, amazing. That's going to be great, Heath. Sounds better than my day. I'm going to be cleaning the house and prepping food. All right. So now I've got this little image in here. It's like all these like scattered words and stuff. Garden, bee, flower, bloom, life, that kind of thing. But it's just like this kind of really like worn look. And so I'm going to take that in my crumb cake. And actually, I'm going to try on the back and see how dark that is. Yeah, it's a little bit darker, I think, than I want. Yeah. So I am going to stamp off before I put this onto my card front. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to have a great time. We're having some friends over for games and everything. I miss you too, though. Next New Year's Eve, we'll spend together. All right, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to ink it up in my crumb cake, I'm going to stamp it off, and then I'm going to come in here and do a little stamp there. And we're just going to try really hard to remember to do this stamp off thing. And maybe one like that. So I'm just doing a few of them. Might do one more up at the top. There we go. And now we're going to grab some of the other kind of splatters and things that are in here and use those to create a bit more of kind of a distressed look on the background here. So we've got lots of different images we can use for this. So we have an actual little speckle here. And again, I am going to make sure though to stamp that off before stamping it on here. All right. Yeah. I'm not going to worry too much about this upper space because we're putting our sentiment or our bee there anyways. So not too much to worry about. All right. I think that's going to be it for that for now. I'll add in a bit more later. Now I'm going to add in some gorgeous flowers around here. So we have this beautiful big bloom. Now I'm not going to use the whole bloom. I'm going to ink the whole thing just so I don't get like weird spots that don't show up, but I'm going to ink it off, stamp it off, and then come in and ink like that. So we just get a little wisp into the card front. And then we're going to do the same down in this spot. Just a little wisp of flowers coming in. And maybe a little bit up at the top. There we go. Now one more. Come in right here. And I am putting it right over top of the words that I've already stamped. Like I'm not being super careful about that. It's meant to look kind of like distressed. So we're almost done. I'm just going to add in, let's see, maybe a couple more little bees. We have this little bee with a flower necklace on him. And so I'm going to stamp that off. That's going to probably get covered. I'm going to put him right down there. Oh, and he didn't show up as well. Okay, so maybe he won't be stamped off. So I'm going to be brave here and try to stamp over top. And it worked. Whew. That was scary. All right. So don't do your bee stamped off. He needs to be full strength. And now I'm going to just add in a few more. Where did I put them? There they are. A few more of these little loose speckles just to kind of fill in the gaps. That's the nice thing about this one is it's so tiny. You can't really overdo it. You can just keep going until you're happy with the look. All right, a few in there. But I do recommend the stamping off for this, otherwise it would look quite busy. Okay, and one more. There we go. All right, so I am very happy now with that kind of distressed background going on. And now we're ready to add our image and some other little things because, of course, our sketch has like a banner behind and also some thread on there. And so that is something else that we're going to do. Oh, actually, we also need to work on our inside. So I'm going to grab that to remind myself. All right. So I'm going to show you a little trick. I want this to pop up a little bit. So I'm going to actually go grab, I'm going to go grab some early espresso. But I'm not really grabbing a giant piece of it. I'm just grabbing this little one and I'm actually going to trim it down to like 2.5 inches, not even. Just grab these two little scraps now. So I got these two little scraps and that's what I'm going to use to create my banner for behind. I am going to, let's see, how wide do I want this? You could literally use any dies. You could even just use scissors to flag this, but I want it to be stitched. There we go. Maybe not. No, we'll do that one. All right, so I'm going to grab this and I am just going to pop it on here and die cut it. So I'm just getting the little section because most of it's going to be behind my bee. Like there's no point. So I am just doing these two little edges. Now I'm actually feeling like that V might be too deep though. So I'm actually going to grab this little piece. And so how big do I want this? Let's trim it up properly. Let's see, I need a ruler. I don't know where my ruler went. Okay, well, I'm going to use my desktop then. All right, so that's 2.5. So let's do it at 1.5. So I'm going to cut these down to 1.5. And that's going to be perfect. And this one should be 1.5 as well. So I've got those both down to 1.5. And now I'm going to take just my hexagon, that's a hexagon. I'm going to take my hexagon here and I'm going to trim up the end into a little V. You could cut this with scissors. You could use a punch. Like you've got all sorts of options for this. But what I am going to do, I'm going to have to do it sideways. I'm going to come in here and cut a fancy little V that's got my stitching on it. All right. I just like the extra detail of having the stitching on the banner. All right. Oh, and that didn't even leave me the stitching. It put the stitching on the other side. Oh, well. Okay. So you can do that. You can use a punch. You can use scissors, whatever you'd like. We won't have stitching. Oh, well. The one that I was going to use is just too deep of a V, so. All right. Oh, right. I said I couldn't do that. That's too wide. Not thinking. All right. There we go. I'm going to run that one through as well. Okay. So we've got our two little banner ends cut now. However you choose to do that. And we're going to tuck these behind our layer of crumb cake. So what I'm going to do is put some dimensionals on the back of this. There we go. And then kind of holding these, like I'm not putting this down yet. I'm just going to put a little strip of adhesive on the back of each of these. You could use liquid glue, whatever you'd like. I'm going to put these down so that they're in line. Now here's a trick to using your board is I've lined up the bottom of my card along one of the lines on my board. And now I can use that to make sure that I'm doing everything straight. So I'm going to come in on that line. I'm going to pop that down like that. And now I can line up my other one on the other side based off of that same line. Okay. I think that's the same line. Yeah. Oops. There we go. So yeah. So now those are equal, and then that will go over top and just kind of hide it all. So it's just a quick little trick that you can use to get things lined up. Now I want to do one more thing before I put this down, is I want to add some string behind this. So what I'm going to do is, I think I want to use some gold twine that I'm sure I have. It's just a matter of where. There it is. So I have the gold twisted thread here. This is such a beautiful product, and I believe it's part of our online exclusives. So I'm going to take my gold twisted thread, and I'm going to just basically create a giant bow that is going to stick out the top and the bottom. So that's going to be about how much I need for it to do that. Okay. So the way I get my bows to sit on here and kind of stay where, or my string to sit and stay where I want it to, is I take my big thread, I make 2 big bunny ears, cross them over each other, like basically tie a knot with your bunny ears, and then kind of wiggle them till your 2 ends are equal. So now I have my 2 loops and my 2 loose ends, and I can put this down right onto my card front. So you can use whatever you want to hold that in place. I'm just going to do a little, oh, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. I'm just going to do a little swatch of Seal Plus and pop that down. Okay. Now I can go ahead and like trim up the ends and stuff. And this twisted thread is really nice because it really takes direction. You can kind of move it around and make it stick where you want it to stick. So I'm going to move that over that way, give it a little trim. That's just a bit frayed, so I'm going to give it a little trim. And then I can put this down over top. Now I feel like this needs a little boost off the page, so I'm going to actually go cut a very, very thin early espresso frame for this. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to draw a frame on. So I am going to grab my early espresso Stampin' Write marker. And I just want to share with you, oh no, where is my early espresso though? Oh, it'll be in neutrals, of course. I want to share with you just a little bit of stuff that's coming up. Celebration begins on January 7th. And one of the deals that we've got is when you join Stampin' Up! During Celebration this year, they've got this gorgeous stamp set for you. And then you actually get to pick 2 packs of markers. So you get to choose the color family you're interested in. And that's kind of like one of the bonuses that we have for Celebration this year. So it's a really nice bonus because these markers are really nice to have. So I'm just drawing an early espresso line. I'm not even being like super straight when I draw my line. And then I'm actually going to draw a second line that doesn't perfectly match. Kind of goes with that distressed look. And then I'm going to go along this edge and all the way to the corner. And then I'm going to draw a second line that again does not perfectly match. Okay, and then we're going to do one more. All right, oh, my marker's starting to dry out. These are pretty old. I'm impressed with how long they've lasted, considering I use them quite a bit. All right, and then our last line across the top. All right. So another option that you have for Celebration this year is just to take extra product, which is always a nice option as well. All right, so we've added in that little border on there. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of distressing around our bee. So often I would have like actually popped him up and everything, but because I don't have the dies, then, you know, you can't really do that. So we're going to just do do this. And so I'm going to add just a tiny bit of distressing around him. Let's see. Yeah, that little one. And I'm going to do that in my crumb cake. Oh, where'd my paper go for stamping off? Oh, it's hidden under the stamp set. All right, so we're going to do that, and I'm just going to add in a little bit of distressing. There we go. That's better. All right, so now we're ready to attach this to our card front. I'm going to peel the backings off. I'm actually going to add one more. I don't know why I didn't. Oh, I know why I didn't, because of the string. So I'm actually not going to add one more. I'm going to add two more so that I don't end up putting a dimensional down where my string is. Two on the sides. There we go. All right, and we're going to pop this onto our card front. So I'm kind of trying to center it. There we go. All right, so that is the front of our card almost done. And I am now just going to add a little bit of bling. All right. Now, where's my bling? There we go. So I'm actually going to grab the neutrals. The neutral sequins and throw some gold bling on here. So I'm going to do like that, like that, like that, and like that. All right, so there we go. We've added our little bling, and then the last thing to do with our card is just to add an insert. So I'm just going to grab a piece of basic white. I still have those blooms on my block. I'm actually going to stamp them with Early Espresso on the inside of my card. And let's grab our scrap because I am going to go off the bottom here. All right, so I'm going to come in here like this and stamp those right there. There we go. So we just have some beautiful blooms on the inside, and I'm going to grab that sweet little bee and pop it in right there. And then on my envelope, I'm just going to do one little bee. Right in the corner. There we go. So that is kind of the finishing touches to this card. Now we're just going to glue this inside and we are done. So it's a really simple sketch to work with, and you can kind of keep it simple, or like with this card, you know, we added in a lot of stamping on our background and a lot of like embossing and little extras. Our next card, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it super simple. All right, so there's the beautiful inside of this card, and just like that. So just such a pretty one. I've got a few bee lovers in my life, so that's going to be a great one to give to someone. All right, so our next card is using the exact same layout. However, we are just going to use a piece of Designer Series paper. I'm going to use, let me clear some of these things away. My goodness, so much stuff in the way. We're going to use the Softly Said stamp set. So this is just big, bold sentiments. And I'm using the sentiment, thank you. Now, I actually hadn't fully decided which side I wanted to use because I actually love these both so much. But I think we're going to go with this one. So we're going to trim this piece down to 4 by 5 1/4. So we're just taking our piece of DSP. It's not really directional, so we're just going to come in here, trim it at the 4, and then 5 1/4. There we go. So with that trimmed to 4 by 5 1/4, I'm going to go grab a Pretty Peacock card base to throw this onto. Okay, so I've got my Pretty Peacock card base, and we are going to glue this designer series paper right flat onto our card base. Where's my liquid glue? There we go. So this, instead of doing all the stamping like we did on our last card, this is a super quick and easy way to get a background. There we go. So this paper is from the Lily Pond Lane. It's a 6 by 6 designer series paper. It's got ducks on it and flowers, spots and speckles, beautiful koi fish, whole sceneries, all sorts of things. So it's a really, really beautiful pack of paper. What I love most about it, I think, though, is that one of the main colors in it is Pretty Peacock, which is a color I absolutely adore. All right, so next thing that we're going to do, I think we're going to actually have to turn this one sideways, which is another great thing to show you guys, is that these do not have to be directional. Like you can do these however you want. The layouts can be twisted and turned. So what I'm going to do for my background on this one is I'm going to grab that little piece and I'm going to cut 2 of those. So this is again from our Nested Essentials, and I'm going to come in here, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't fully fit. I want to just make sure I get my top V and I'm not worried about the bottom part. So we're going to cut 2 of these out of Bubble Bath. That's what it's called. Like the nice pink. Yeah, so we're going to cut 2 of these out of Bubble Bath. So again, just making sure that we get the top of the V. That's kind of the only critical part. All right. There's one. And now we're going to cut our second one. And just put it on a little bit of an angle. There we go. All right. And roll that through. So there's lots of different ways to make the banner. You could even use the Stylish Shapes banners and, just have a whole bunch of cardstock behind your label. And that works too. All right, so we've got that, and we'll pop that away. Okay, and then we are going to stamp our thank you. Now, again, I think I'm going to start with, so that almost goes right across. That's perfect. All right, we'll see where we want those glued once we get our sentiment done. So I'm going to start with a piece that's too big. I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and then I'm going to trim it down around my sentiment. Sometimes that's just easier than trying to line it up perfectly. So let's see. I'm just going to grab a piece of basic white to do this. There we go. We've got our basic white. I am going to use Pretty Peacock ink. So that's my absolute favorite. We're going to ink this up. Okay, and then I am putting it kind of down and to the left. That way I only have to make 2 trims. Oh, that is so pretty. All right, so there is our thank you. This is such a nice sentiment. And now we're going to go ahead and trim this up. So pop this into my trimmer. And give it a good slice across the top. And then, actually, let's go this way. And slice along the side. Okay, so we've got our sentiment all done there. So now we can start to think about putting this together. Now for this one, I think I might actually see what those measurements were. That's 3 1/4 by 2 1/2, and I'm going to create just a little Pretty Peacock border for that. So I'm going to cut it just a little bit bigger than 3 1/4 and 2 1/2. Just like 1/8 of an inch bigger on each side. Ooh, not even enough. I'm going to trim that down. Oh, that's why, because it wasn't 2 1/2. Now it is. Okay. All right, now that'll fit. So we're just going to create a little tiny border for this. And need a new blade. So we're going to glue this to our Pretty Peacock layer. And then just like we did before, we're going to glue down our banners and pop up our sentiment. All right, so I always like to use the wide end of my glue. Get a little bubble and then drag it across. And then this goes on just like that. There we go. Now I am going to put my banners on. So just a little bit of glue on the back. I am going to look at that, kind of try and center that. And then we're going to glue down our other one on the other side. All right. So just like that. Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to take our sentiment, flip it over, put some dimensionals on the back. There they are. They keep running away on me. There, and there. And for this card, I think I might go with that same gold twisted thread again. I think that that's going to be kind of a nice complement to this card. When I was first imagining it, I had envisioned using a pink ribbon, but because I've done the pink banner, I think the pink ribbon will get lost. So we're going to do a nice gold. It kind of pulls out some of the peach pie that's in there. So a nice big loop like that. So yeah, that'll work. Okay, and my scissors, there we go. All right, so this twisted gold thread is just fantastic, and it's super easy to use. So we're gonna loop around like that. Trim these up. Okay, so I've got my giant bow that's gonna go on like that. Again, we're just going to use a little swoosh of Seal Plus to hold it in place. So when I do this, I'm making sure, I'm not so worried about getting my knot in the center because it's all going to be covered. I'm making sure that my loops are going to stick out the ends. There we go. All right, just like that. And now I'm going to put down my sentiment, and then I'll trim my ribbon ends and add some embellishments. So again, we're trying to kind of center that. There we go. And that's good. That one needs a little trim. There we go. And I think the embellishment we're going to put on this one is going to be our iridescent, iridescent foil gems. These are just so beautiful, and they have just the slightest hint. They've got the iridescent, so they've got like the pink in them, but then they also have just like the tiniest hint of gold in them. So they're going to be a perfect embellishment for this card. There we go. And do another one over there. Right there. Perfect. All right. So just a really quick and simple card, but really so beautiful. I love that paper. And yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful thank you card. So that is our second. Oh, I forgot our insert. Whoops. All right. So I'm going to take this. Now, when I cut my designer series paper, I had, I had extra bits. I had this one little bit here that happened to be 4 inches, which is what my insert is. So I'm actually going to take that little scrap, because really, what are you going to do with a 3/4 inch by 4 inch little strip of paper? I'm going to take it and glue it to the inside edge of my card. And then I'll put this whole piece on the inside of my card. There we go. Oh, come on. And then that pops into my card, just like that. All right, so now we have a little bit of that fun pattern on the inside of our card as well. So that is our second card using that same layout with the rectangle banner and our string across our card. I just made this one a little bit bigger and turned it sideways. All right, so that is card number 2. And now card number 3. So much fun, you guys. I am going to use the Heartfelt Hexagons stamp set. So this is another one that's on clearance. I actually can't even believe the prices of the stamp set. So this Heartfelt Hexagon stamp set is only $11.20 right now on sale. That Softly Said was $13.60, and the Queen Bee that I used first was $12.80. So like smoking deals, you guys. So for this one, we are, of course, going to use the Heartfelt Hexagons punch to cut out our bits. And let me just put away my twine, because I don't think, oh, maybe I will. Maybe I will use that gold, but we're going to put it away for now. So this is the one that I'm going to use. So I'm going to grab that scrap of paper that I had from that last card. Where did it go? There we go. I'm going to grab that scrap of basic white that I had, and I am going to get my hexagons. Now, here's a little trick that I've shown before, but it's been a while, so I'm going to show you again. I actually have a punch out of the Heartfelt Hexagons punch, and I'm going to take my stamped image and pop it inside that cutout before I put it onto my block. The reason for that is because these images can be like flexible. And so here, I'll show you with the other one. These images can be flexible. And so instead of putting it down so that it was like fully inside, you could actually like kind of twist them, and they would stick to the block in like an unusual shape. And then when you go to punch them out, they're not going to punch out properly. They won't be within the lines. So just using a cutout that I just keep right here in my stamp set, that allows you to make sure that you get them properly lined up. All right, so now I'm going to take the sentiment, let's eat cake. I just really like that one. I really like cake, but also I feel like you can use that for a birthday. You can use it for a wedding. You could use it for a graduation, like any kind of celebration. So those two are going to go together. Now, this card is going to be basically a white on white card. I am going to emboss my background though. And I think I'm actually going to give you guys a little sneak peek of one of my favorite celebration items. You can't get this yet, but starting on January 7th, you can earn this. Can you guys see that? You can earn this beautiful embossing folder called Starstruck. So I'm going to go emboss this white layer. This is just a 4x5 1/4. I'm going to go emboss it with this Starstruck embossing folder, and then you guys will be able to see it a bit better. Okay, so this embossing folder is too big for the mini, but on your big machine, you'd use 2 clear plates and your base plate to run that through. And so I'll give you guys a better view of that. So it's just an absolutely gorgeous embossing folder. Oh, hi, Cynthia. Oh, you have this set. Excellent. So any embossing folder will do. This embossing folder isn't available yet. You can earn it for free during celebration starting on January 7th. When you place a $75 order here in Canada, or I believe it's a $60 order in the US. But don't quote me on that. I just know Canada for sure is a $75 order. You can get this embossing folder for free. So I'm going to take this embossing folder and put it straight down onto my basic white card base. There we go. All right. So just like that. It's so pretty. All right. So that is down on our card base. Now we need to create our sentiment piece. And I want to use some accents as well. This is the, I don't even have the name of it on the back yet. I must have put this in backwards, so it's hidden. No, I didn't. Oh my. This is one of our ephemera packs, and for some reason I have no label on it. That is so weird. But so I wanted to come in here, because we're saying let's eat cake, I wanted to come in and grab the little piece of cake. Well, actually, I wasn't sure if I was going to use the piece of cake or the whole cake. So I'm going to pop both of them out, and then we'll decide once we get everything else done here. But I'm going to use that to kind of guide my decision for colors for stamping my Let's Eat Cake. So I'm going to pop those back in. Otherwise, I just lose all of the bits. So I always try and keep them in their folder. So this is an ephemera pack out of our annual catalog. So this is available and easy to access. So based on these colors and everything, I am going to do my border, I think, in Bubble Bath. And then, no, I'm going to do my border in Balmy Blue. I want it to stand out just a little bit. Well, actually, I've used the darker one. Let's do our words in Balmy Blue. I'm going to use Bubble Bath for our border. Sure. So I'm going to get my Bubble Bath ink, this really cool hexagon piece, and I'm going to pop that on there. Oh, that's quite light. Okay, that's going to work. All right, so I've got my Bubble Bath border, and you know what? I'm going to actually do my words not in Balmy Blue. I'm going to use Petunia Pop to go with those stripes on that cake. I've decided we're using the cake, not the slice of cake. So there we go. So Petunia Pop for our words. So we've got a bubble bath border and a Petunia Pop sentiment. And now we are going to get our punch and punch this out. So we're going to pop in here and pop that out. And there we go. Okay, so now that we've got that done, and we're not going to use our little slice of cake, I'm going to put him away. I'm just going to use our big cake. I've got our big cake. I've got our sentiment. I need our ribbon and our banner to go behind this. And so this is where we're going to add in some balmy blue. Is that I am going to do a nice balmy blue ribbon behind this. And I'm going to do another bubble bath banner behind this. Now, I am going to do a much smaller banner this time though, so I'm going to grab my stylish shapes, and that will be perfect. It'll just be long enough. If it's not, we can cut it in half. So I'm going to use the thinnest but longest banner from our stylish shapes dies, and I'm going to die cut that with bubble bath. Keep forgetting what I'm saying. There we go. So I'm going to get some bubble bath and die cut that. So this is just a tiny one, so we'll use our little machine. Pop that on there. So I love having just scraps lying around, and so then we can just go ahead and grab our scraps to do things like this die cutting. Oops, there we go. There. And put those away. Now let's see if this is going to poke out enough on the two sides. If it's not, actually, I think that is just enough. Now, if you feel like those ends are too small, my little trick is go ahead and cut this piece in half, and then you can glue them so they stick out a little bit further. I actually think they're perfect. So I am going to put a dab of Seal Plus on the back of my banner here, and I'm going to use the lines on my page to center that on my mat, and then center this over top. So when I put it down, it goes down straight. There we go. So we've got our little banner all ready to go. We've got our cute little cake to go with this. And now I'm just going to grab some balmy blue twine. So our balmy blue twine is actually part of... Oh, are you kidding me? Apparently we're not going to use balmy blue. Well, that is interesting. So our balmy blue twine is part of a 3-pack called Baker's Twine 3-color pack. And, oh, no, there we go. I do have some. Apparently, I like the balmy blue more than any other color because I have a lot of the Flirty Flamingo and Lemon Lolly left and a very small amount of my balmy blue left. But it works best with this card, and I do have some left, so we're going to use it. Okay, so same thing as I did before. I just want to make sure that I'm going to make a bow that's big enough to stick out the ends, and put that back. Apparently, I need to start forcing myself to use some Lemon Lolly and Flirty Flamingo and use up those extra ones so I can get a new 3-pack. All right. So I've tied my twine bow, and just like we did before, we're going to stick it down to our card front. And again, I'm just going to do a little dab of Seal Plus across there to pop that down. And I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of my sentiment label. So top and bottom, both the ends. Now everything's going to be secured. I am leaving the middle open because that's where the knot of my bow is. All right, I'm going to pop this down. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. All right, I'm going to take my cake here, put some dimensionals on the back, maybe a mini for the bottom there. And then I'm not going all the way up to the top because I am letting this cake go onto my sentiment label, so I don't want a dimensional in the way. So just two on the body of the cake and one on the base. And we're going to come in like that. We can trim our ribbon. And now, you guys, I am going to share with you, I think it's my favorite thing in the new Celebration Mini. It is, where did they go? I was just using them. There we go. It is the purple adhesive back sequins. So we've got kind of white with purple tinge, a little bit of a bubble bath look, a little bit of a fresh freesia look, a little bit of a berry burst melon mambo kind of look. And I am going to use some of these. I think I'm going to use the fresh freesia looking ones to scatter onto my card to embellish it a little bit. All right. So we're going to pop those on. It is party time. Throw that on there. And maybe a few up here. All right. Oh my goodness. Nope, I don't like that. All right, we're going to switch that up. So that's a small one. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to keep it all kind of in line. No, maybe down here. No, maybe we just won't even. I don't know. Maybe over there. Okay. No, I don't like that. We're just going to leave it at 4, which is kind of weird for me. I don't normally do 4. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this today. Maybe one. No, I don't like that over there. I don't like it going off balance. I want to keep this line. So maybe we're going to do 5, but we're going to do them like that and really keep them scattered. And we're actually going to come down like that. We're going to really scatter them across our front. There we go. I know they are truly just absolutely gorgeous. I love them so much. All right, maybe we're gonna pull this in. Maybe we'll pull it all in a bit. All right. Yeah, I wanted to fill up that space under Let's Eat Cake, so we're gonna pull that in like that. And then we're going to go real crazy and actually add more down here. We're really skittering across the page. All right. Okay, there we go. We've got a ton of sequins on here. That's okay. It is... You have OCD, so you have to have even numbers. Oh, that's so funny. I always do triangles, so it's always odd numbers. But now I'm not liking that, so these are coming off. We're going to keep it... I don't know. Oh, this is too challenging. I don't know why this is so hard today. All right. I think I had it right before where I didn't have any on the label. All right. And we scatter them down to there. I think that was right. And there you go. You've got even numbers. Maybe we'll do one. No, I don't like that. Okay, we're doing even numbers. There's 6 on there, 2 triangles. I really like doing the triangle thing. So I guess sometimes that ends up with even numbers with the 6. So we'll save those. All right, so there is our third card, all done. It's quick and simple. This Heartfelt Hexagons stamp set, I am like so sad that it's going to be leaving. It's definitely going to be staying on my shelf because it's just so nice to have those quick borders that punch out. Punches are so useful, I find. And so I'm just going to bring back in our 3 cards. These are all the same layout, but completely different looks. So I hope you guys appreciate being able to see the different layouts and how you can kind of adapt them, use them as a jumping point. I really find layouts is a fantastic way for me to craft. Anytime I'm feeling kind of stuck, I just grab a layout and a stamp set and go with it. And I really find it helps kind of break the block. So happy New Year, everyone. You can grab all of these items except for the embossing folder and gems here in my shop right now. And they are last chance items, so they are while supplies last. They are a fantastic deal. And as a special little happy New Year's to everyone, anybody who does place an order today before 11 p.m. Pacific time, so basically before the new year starts for Stampin' Up, anybody who places an order with me using my host code will actually receive a package of embellishments in the mail as an extra thank you from me. And so they are all brand new embellishments. Some of them might be retired or soon to be retired. Some of them might be new. I have a big stash of stuff and I am trying to clear out my craft room this year. So I've got them all ready to go in the mail and just waiting for your address. So make sure you place that order before the end of today. Have a wonderful New Year's, and I will see you guys all in 2025. I will be showing you some of our new kits, and I will start off the year with a card class to go next Wednesday. Finally back to regular routine when school goes back. So thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.